The following podcast is provided by Athira Pharma and Answers for Elders Radio.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network and sponsored by Athira Pharma. We are speaking with Dr. Ng, who is the Chief Medical Officer of Sun Valley Research Center in what we call Mexicali area, right?
Well, let me tell you something that makes our area unforgettable.
Yes.
So on the Mexican side of the border,
yes,
the city I was born in, which is Mexicali, the word is made out of Mexico and Cali, California.
Right.
Then when you cross the border to the United States, the first city has the name of Calexico, which is Cal for California and Exico for Mexico.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect.
You'll never forget. And then if you drive about 22 miles north, that's where Imperial is, which is the heart of Imperial County.
Right.
That's where we're at. That's where Sun Valley is.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to know. And I am interested. We've talked a little bit about just the whole concept of clinical trials and how you got started in all of this and your passion. What I would love to know is talk a little bit, like dive in a little bit more. And what are some of the unique challenges that happen specifically in the Latino community when it comes to Alzheimer's disease?
Okay, one of the things of the Latino community is that they trust their doctors blindly. I mean, it's like, if this is my doctor, I'll trust whatever he or she tells me to do, I'll do. And then when you put on the table the option, you know what, we don't have any more treatments for you, or you keep on getting worse, or we detected that this is going on, this would be a good time for you to participate in a clinical trial, confirm that you do have or don't have Alzheimer's. And there's at that point says, well, but why aren't you treating me with the usual things that you were treating me, right? Why a research trial? And the word research is very heavy, right? It's like, wow. And it's very frustrating to me, because I think we need to make a greater effort to communicate the fact that, if anything, clinical trials are even more strict. That, when a drug
exactly
is passed so many tests already that it's proven to be safe, right?
Right.
You're in a clinical trial, God, you're observed, supervised, your blood tests or urine tests are done more frequently, brain scans if necessary, but then it feels like too invasive and it's hard. And some of my patients, my own patients that I treat for Alzheimer's, I tell them, look, you could qualify for this study, is good. No, too many tests, why bother? But this is,
this is your life, though, and it's like the quality of life,
Just up until a couple of years ago, that the first antibody was approved for Alzheimer's, and just this year another one. Before that, we've been prescribing the same medications for about 20 years.
Wow.
And I've been telling, so we're so excited and so optimistic about the fact that there are more trials going on. Who knows? They have to prove that they work or not work, but there will be more options for our patients,
right?
And because there's been a paucity of results for decades,
right? Well, and I think too, the more and more, like what you said, we do need to communicate this matter, because people got all excited when there was this new drug out for Alzheimer's just a month ago, but how do you think that that drug came to be in the first place? It's their people that went through the clinical trials to get it to market, and it was the fact that they had people participating and had positive results is why things happen. And I think that's one of the things, I think the message somehow doesn't get connected, that every single breakthrough medication that's on there, it's focused, there were people that participated in trials, not only in Alzheimer's, in any kind of disease. Isn't that correct, Dr. Ng?
Yes. Heart disease, cancer, arthritis, any.
Yes.
Actually, you're hitting right where we think so far with our own metrics that has worked even better.
Right.
When we communicate this last message that you said to our people, because we do a lot of things to try to carry the message around, right? And when they say, look, let's say the medication doesn't work for you, or maybe we find out later on that you were on placebo.
Right.
Whatever you did is already adding to the information, to the data, so that other people can benefit in the future.
Right.
And you know what? Latino population likes that. They like to be able to help others. And that's where that has helped us overcome some of the fears. And the people that does participate, they can look, I'm going to do whatever I need, the blood draw, whatever. And I know this may not help me right now, but unless we do this, we're not going to be able to help other people. So that part is, I think in general, the people that live in our county are very giving, and that has been actually more than benefiting themselves, benefiting other people.
Sure. I can imagine that would be the case. And obviously, to discover something new, even if a medication didn't work for you, there's, there isn't only just one trial. There's several different types of trials, and depending on, what your specific, needs are, maybe there's another trial that's better for you. And those are the things, obviously, that people like you're narrowing down on how to, service that patient in the best possible way. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, that's something that's very exciting about clinical trials, because it is like this perfect chain of events that has to happen.
Yes.
Some people in a laboratory somewhere working with rats figure out that there's this molecule that doesn't. They are super genius people, right? That they come up with these formulas and they test it with electron microscopes and who knows, right? That's way out of my league. And then they start pushing that molecule forward, right? It comes with humans who are healthy and okay, well, it's fine, it's safe enough, let's move forward. By the time we participate, that are usually phase 3 studies, sometimes phase 2, but usually phase 3, molecules have walked a long pathway already.
Right.
So at that moment, we know a lot about their safety, that it's tolerable. Maybe we participate in studies where they're trying to figure out the right dose. And another thing I want to mention about placebo, more and more the placebo phases of the studies have become shorter.
That's great.
That is to only prove the concept, right? The difference from placebo, but from then on, most of the studies now have an open label section where everybody sooner or later will receive the benefit of being on the active medication.
That's great.
And that also allows to be able to see safety in the long run. So by the time I'm offering this to my patients, I'm very confident that these molecules, a lot of molecules don't make it to phase 3, and the ones that do are worth moving forward and completing the whole process.
Yeah. And I think too, participating in a clinical trial, do you think that someone, might be hesitant just because if they're in a trial, people may think that they're not getting proper care? I mean, or there might be a stigma around it. Have you seen that?
Definitely. And it depends a lot on the different conditions or diseases or disorders that you might talk about. For Alzheimer's, for example, when there is such little to choose from, right? Getting that, well, I'm looking at it from my end, right? It's actually an opportunity, right? When you have conditions that there are plenty of treatments and everything out there works really well, why even there probably hardly be companies interested in clinical trial. You got that disease under control, right?
But
but Alzheimer's is not the case. I mean, we have a lot of area to cover, a lot of patients to treat.
Do you find also that there's fear about accepting that you have Alzheimer's, and so to go into something like this, it's like you'd prefer to stay in denial?
Well, that's a very provocative question. Because historically, some of the trials that failed were because in these 2 decades, right? They were because they were coming to a stage of the disease where they learned that it was hard to reverse the damage from the disease. So now the thing is to move earlier in the disease.
Sure.
So based on science, that makes a lot of sense, right? Oh yeah. The sooner you get it, the sooner you treat it, the better chance that you have. And that's the same with hypertension, with diabetes, with throat infections. The sooner you get it, with COVID, right? The sooner you get it treated, the better.
You're over.
However, when we're talking about Alzheimer's disease, I think as a society, we have not arrived to the point yet.
Yeah.
Hey, 65 and I'm still a working person, and they diagnosed me Alzheimer's, but I'm fine. I'm getting the best treatment there is, and I'm going to continue to function for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
No.
Because
but we are, but that is a reality in sight. That's the exciting part.
Yes.
And that's, when we look at all the things that have happened, I want to talk a little bit in our next segment, a little bit about, clinical research, what goes on, and really specifically talking about the Latino community. And Dr. Ng, you and we're going to come back right after this.
The preceding podcast was provided by Athira Pharma and Answers for Elders Radio. For more information about the Alzheimer's clinical trial, go to athiraclinicaltrials.com.